Good morning. I remember reading how once Mr. John Wesley was asked by a lady, suppose that you knew you were to die at 12 o'clock tomorrow night. How would you spend the intervening time? That's a good question. A question that would cause a nice discussion in the evening around the fire over a cup of tea. That is a good question. If you knew that you were going to die tomorrow night at midnight, how would you spend the intervening time? For John Wesley, he said, "How, madam? Why, just as I intended to spend it now. I should preach this night at Gloucester, and again at 5 o'clock tomorrow morning. After that I should ride to Tubury, preach in the afternoon, and then meet with the Methodist societies in the evening. I should then repair to friend Martin's house, who expects to entertain me. I would converse and pray with the family as usual, retire to my room at 10 o'clock, commend myself to the Heavenly Father, lie down to rest, and wake up in glory." There's an interesting thing. I've thought about this because this is a very famous statement by John Wesley. More than once in my life, I've really pondered what he was saying here. And there really were about three things that I kind of drew from it. One, Wesley truly wasn't afraid to die because he had taken time to think about that. He had thought about life. He had thought about death. He thought about eternity. And it is clear when people are not afraid to die, when we feel that we can trust in God's constant love of us, His children, then it really does change the way that you live. You don't have to be running off and doing things because you were afraid. No, it's obvious that Wesley, if he thought he was going to die, could lie down, commend himself to his Father, and wake up in glory. When you're not afraid to die, you're not afraid to live. But I also thought about how his response was, I'm going to do the things that I would have been doing anyway. It reminded me how important it is to live each day in such a way that I'm doing things that matter. They don't have to be huge, earth-shattering things, but am I doing things that really matter? For him, it was going to be worship. It was going to be meeting with Methodist societies. These were the classes that he had started where people were trying to help and encourage one another. He was checking in on them. He knew how important that was. And then he was going to meet with his friend Martin and that family. Meeting with friends and family mattered. It didn't have to be huge, but John Wesley felt these are the things I would do day in and day out because they count. It makes me stop and think, am I doing the things that matter with my time? Or am I just trifling it away, as he would say? But third, this question and this thing from Wesley has made me quite often think, am I wasting my day? If this was my last day, am I wasting it being upset over things that really don't matter? If I'm out driving on the freeway and the traffic all piles up and I've queued up in line to wait for my turn like people are supposed to, and people are zipping down the side of the freeway to come cut in, it drives me crazy. And I can sit there on the freeway and get all upset at the very inconsiderate people who are doing this. And then I have to ask myself, if this were my last day, would I really want to spend my time being upset over something so trivial as that? How often do you and I waste these moments being upset over things that if it was our last day, we would say, that really didn't matter? You and I have been given the gift of today. We've been given the gift of starting this new week. And so I think it's worthwhile as you and I start this week to ask ourselves, suppose you knew that you were to die at 12 o'clock tomorrow. How would you want to spend the intervening time? I hope you'd spend it loving God and loving your neighbor. No exception. Go out and make it a great day.